Alright, everyone. It is that time once again to call out Pat Kiernan over at Channel 1. Now, I don't want to do the usual stick of, oh, Andy complains about this or that not getting covered in Queens, because believe me, with Hurricane Milton hitting Florida right now, I rather would focus my time and energy on that than what's going to get ignored in Queens. We can maybe do that next week, but not today. Today, we have to talk about something important in the mass transit community, and something that I'm grateful that Charlton DeSouza over at Passengers United did, and that is, we're going to get that in later on in the video. We're going to talk about that because I'm having a word salad because Pat Kiernan got me mad once again this morning. I watch New York 1 so you don't have to. Today, what does Pat Kiernan decide to talk about in the daily news, you may be wondering?
Time for looking at what's in the papers on this Wednesday morning. It's just really hard to keep track of who's who at City Hall these days. The Daily News has a lot on this topic.
Hey, Pat Kiernan, you forgot to mention something very important, and I will actually show you guys right now. Right here, right now. You see this? You see this? This is the important headline you should have read, Pat Kiernan. Rider stabs train worker in Brooklyn. All operator did was ask the passenger to leave the car at the end of the line. And you know why this is going to get buried. You know why this is going to get buried? Because everyone's talking about Hurricane Milton right now. Every single media outlet that you can name in this country is going to talk about it. And I know it's unfortunate. And I get people are going to die. But, you do realize that since I'm in Passengers United, I have an obligation to cover this. You know I have an obligation to cover this. This is a major story involving a transit employee. And I'll say this, I have not been on the subway in almost 2 months. And that was because I went on a date with someone, but the first date didn't work out, and yeah, we haven't talked since, me and a romantic partner, but yeah, I haven't been on the subway in 2 months. But guess what, folks? You know I'm going to be back in the subway system once the holiday season starts. You can't keep me out of New York City. Now that I'm stuck here no matter what, thanks to Mother Nature's wrath from Florida. So let's continue here. Yeah, he's acting like a preppy snob as usual. Yeah, and then Eric Adams can take a leave of absence. I mean, really? Really? I mean, look at this. Look what he talks about here.
Hey, Prospect Park West is going to be the first of the 20-mile.
Talking about Sammy's Law. And then supposedly the victims claiming in the David Patterson thing, oh, we're the victims. Like, oh my God. Look what he ignored. Look what he ignored. Look what he ignored, folks. Pat Kiernan is a preppy snob. And I've been saying about that for a while. He is a preppy snob. He reminds me of News 12 South Shore. It's obvious. Alright? The guy gets me so freaking mad. Like, going to Brooklyn, much. It's probably not even going to be here. You have an obligation to cover every story in New York 1 that occurs in the 5 boroughs. You have an obligation. Alright? This person could be dying. He has life-threatening injuries. And you choose to ignore it. So we're going to see if News 12 Brooklyn has it, and then we'll read the daily news story. Because, again, Pat Kiernan decided it was okay to ignore it. See, look at this. Front page of News 12 Brooklyn. Front page. Front page. You really need to be ashamed of yourself, Spectrum. You really need to be ashamed of yourself.
Was arraigned to. Well, the man accused of stabbing a train conductor yesterday was arraigned today. Now, News 12 Shakti Dennis is live outside of the hospital where that conductor is now fighting for his life. Shakti, what can you tell us?
You know how I found out he was fighting for his life? Coming home from Osnum today, I had WABC on for the top of the hour update. I don't want to hear 1010 Wins repeat the same thing over and over and over again. We're stuck with WABC now for their top of the hour updates. Just for any legit news on AM radio. Let's continue this.
Yeah, Noel. 60-year-old Myron Polak is here at Kings County Hospital. He is in a medically induced coma. He was rushed here yesterday after being stabbed multiple times at the Utica Ave subway station where he works. And the man who is accused of stabbing him has now been arraigned, and he is being held without bail. His name is Jonathan Davalos. He's 27 years old, and he walked out of the Transit District 32 in Crown Heights with police this morning. He is being charged with attempted murder, assault, and menacing for stabbing the train operator. Officials confirmed that Davalos has a long rap sheet, including a conviction for attacking another MTA worker. He served 3.5 years in state prison and was...
It's unbelievable that, again, that our bail reform system in the state constantly allows this to happen time and time and time again. Again, this is what the Reverend Al Sharpton always says. It's the agony of repeat. And sadly, I don't want to say that I'm going to kiss his ring because, again, he's an anti-Semite. But the fact of the matter is, it's the same repeating door revolving. These dangerous criminals, again, do not belong out in the street. It's another example of bail reform at work. I am so sorry. And I go from the beginning. Let me play it from here.
Was released earlier this year. Now, in a statement, the Brooklyn District Attorney called Davalos' action a vicious attack on a hardworking train conductor who was just doing his job. He stressed that his office pushed for no bail and is determined to hold those who threaten subway safety accountable. He added that his thoughts are with the train operator and his family as he recovers here. And Mr. Polak has worked for the MTA for more than 3 decades.
And I want to mention, Passengers United does share our thoughts and prayers for the family of Mr. Polak. We obviously am hoping for the best, but God forbid he dies. The Brooklyn DA is going to prosecute further charges because this becomes a homicide. Yeah, look at the thug right here. Look at the thug that does not belong out in our streets. This is the thug right here who should have been in jail. In jail. And New York 1 is brushing us off as usual. You know how sick and tired we are of this. Oh, okay, that's Long Island. That's weird. I was trying to look for if Charlton made it on News 12 last night. Let me see if I can find it. So I couldn't find if Charlton was on News 12 Brooklyn last night, but I want to show you this. This is another important thing that does relate to the topic at hand here. So you see here, this is Univision 41 last night, okay? Now, I got tipped off from Charlton that he got on the air, and thankfully he did make the air last night. And we're just going to use some stills here because, I don't want to play the video itself, but, yeah, look at this. They claim that crime went down in July, August, and September. We still have dangerous, emotionally disturbed people who do not belong in the subway system. Again, the crime gets underreported. Victims are afraid to actually report it to the transit police. So, there's a fabrication here. And the fact of the matter is, we got to get all these dangerous, emotionally disturbed people out of the subway system. Because you might drive the same people insane at this point. You never know. They could have a first time for everything with a panic attack or a mental episode. Oh, yeah. I mean, what are they going to do? Make up another lie for October? All right, so here's Charlton. And let me get you a better up-close view of him. There he is. See? Look at that. Charlton on the news last night. That's what I want to see more of. That's what I want to see more of. So, we're going to do the responsible thing right now. And that is talk about the story that Pat Kiernan should have acknowledged this morning. He refused to read it. And, you know, again, Pat Kiernan, you really are a piece of work. That's all I got to say about you. You really are a piece of work. You know, we don't get News 12 Brooklyn in Queens, I think. Unless, I think it's on a different channel if I'm correct on Spectrum. I don't know, but still, Pat, you have an obligation to cover this. How can you call yourself a journalist? How can you call yourself a journalist? You know, I'm just, you know, I'm not surprised that his behavior has really, really gotten to me to a point where I'm going to erupt at him. So this is the station that is at question. This is Utica Avenue on the 3-4 train in Brooklyn. MTA train operator Miran Polak, who was trying to clear a number 4 train at the end of the line in Crown Heights, was in critical condition last night after being stabbed multiple times by a man who refused to get off, said MTA chairman Janel Lieber. So we're going to read the story because, I want you guys to understand how serious this is and why Pat Kiernan should have covered this. Because, you know, I don't want to go off topic in... We're going to do one off topic thing to wrap up this video, which kind of is relating to subway news. But let's just read what this says. A veteran train operator who was clearing a subway at its last stop in Brooklyn was knifed repeatedly by an unruly passenger who refused to get off. The assailant was sitting in a number 4 subway car at the Crown Heights Utica Avenue stop at 10:50 a.m. yesterday morning when a 60-year-old train operator named Miran Polak walked through, telling passengers still on the train they had to step onto the platform. At a press conference last night at Kings County Hospital, MTA chairman Janel Lieber was quoted saying, "He was just doing his job, and he was attacked by somebody who had a history of attacking transit customers and MTA employees." After they reached the Brooklyn end of the line at the Crown Heights Utica Avenue stop, Mr. Polak proceeded to walk through the length of the train to clear any remaining passengers, as the MTA requires train crews to do so. During Mr. Polak's walkthrough, Jonathan Davalos, age 27, of the Bronx, refused to get off the train. The MTA chairman was also quoted saying, "There was a guy who would have not left the train. After some words were exchanged, and the guy chased Mr. Polak onto the platform, and he attacked him brutally and stabbed him multiple times." Members of Mr. Polak's union, TWU Local 100, which represents MTA employees working in the subway system, said Mr. Polak was stabbed between 6 and 9 times. Mr. Polak was taken to Kings County Hospital, where he went for surgery for stab wounds to the chest, abdomen, and leg. TWU members said Mr. Polak was in critical condition. Also, it was reported that Charlton D'Souza of Passengers United was also visiting the victim at the hospital last night. Davalos ran off but was essentially caught by police. According to NYPD records, he reportedly has 14 prior arrests, including an assault on an MTA conductor. For his attack on Mr. Polak, Davalos was charged with attempted murder. Now, again, remember, let's emphasize this. If Mr. Polak is pronounced dead, and as I said earlier, there is a chance that the Brooklyn DA may have to upgrade the charges, and we may have to do an update video if warranted. So, stay tuned because we may have more to say. So, according to MTA officials, the train conductor has been employed by the MTA since 1999. Around 4 p.m., Mr. Polak's niece posted on Facebook that he was out of surgery. Katie Felicia, the MTA's criminal justice advocate, said she was outraged over the attack. So I don't even want to read what she said. I'm just beyond disgusted. And trust me, if I'm the chairman, I'm calling on all the Assembly and the Senate members to repeal the Bail Reform Act. If Jano cared about criminal justice, again, this is a person that, again, did not belong in the subway system in the first place. So, yeah, unfortunate. But again, this is what we talk about. The fact that we're getting ignored by the media. There's one more story I want to find here. See if I can find it. I know I did see it while I was reading. Yeah, this is the page. Yes, new subway cars. It was in Staten Island yesterday. On the Staten Island Railway. So it replaces the century-old R44 cars that have been on the Staten Island Railway system since 1973. So yes. Very unfortunate that that didn't get mentioned either. And then, of course, you got Eric Adams bragging about the crime. Shouldn't Eric Adams think about resigning? Because people are leaving his staff left and right. So, yeah, let's just show you what else Pat Kiernan said. I mean, you know, look at this. Talking about the Jets coach getting fired. You have Rob Salat. Like, who cares? I mean, really. It's all over the news, but yeah, I mean, Pat Kiernan, you really should be ashamed of yourself. You really should be ashamed of yourself. You are not a real journalist if you are going to ignore the news that matters to us. Look at his face, folks. This is the face of a preppy snob that does not belong on television. And what even makes it worse is that when he's not on, you have that other preppy snob, Jamie Stelter, who's married to that high-pitched weasel who works at CNN. I mean, if Rocco Berduccio was on, maybe he would have covered this. I don't know. But I am just beyond mad. This video has gone on for 20 minutes. And trust me, when I say this, when I'm mad, when a major news story like this gets ignored, you know I'm going to speak up about it. No one's going to keep my damn mouth shut. So Pat Kiernan, I keep saying this about you. I'm not going to shut up when you ignore a major news story. Because I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call you out. So I'm done here. That's it.